are prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions. I've been feeling down, but I've been looking up, afraid to fall. God, I've been so down, can you pick me up? Don't let me fall. Can you show me how to fix this mess? I am down and on my knees, and I may fall as I'm so close to the end.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football channel for the Prem Predictions Show Week 6 predictions. And last week was a very interesting week. We did have Brighton beat Manchester United. And yeah, we had a really, very, very interesting week as well. But do get your predictions down in the comments for match week 6. And I will go through how everyone did in match week number 5. I had one of my best weeks yet. I got 12 points, including 2 perfect scores. West Ham 1, Man City 3, and Nottingham Forest 1, Burnley 1. And actually, I edged out everyone in the comments, but there were 2 high scorers this week. Nathan Morgan, who has been consistently with the high scores, and look at AFC, both with 11 points. So very, very well done to both of you for that. But we will kick off with match week 6, and obviously the game to look out for is that North London derby at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal against Tottenham, both sides in very, very good form. Yeah, could be an interesting one. But we will start on Saturday at 3 p.m. with Crystal Palace against Fulham. A game where you'd have to say Crystal Palace against Aston Villa, they were very, very unfortunate, I thought, for a long, long time in that game. You look at Palace, and I know obviously, Villa did get back into the game eventually, but Palace were worthy of their lead in that game. Obviously, Odsonne-Edouard did capitalise from a rare mistake, I think it is, from Emi Martinez, obviously slipping in his penalty box. But it was very, very interesting that he actually he did that. But obviously, best wishes to obviously Roy Hodgson. Hopefully, he'll be back in the dugout for this weekend as well. I think Crystal Palace were a bit unlucky to lose 3-1. I don't think 3-1 tells the whole story. If I'm being honest, I know that Aston Villa did have a goal ruled out for obviously offside, but I thought Palace were very, very unlucky to lose that game by 3-1. Fulham did win 1-0 against Luton Town. Wasn't the best of games, it's got to be said, but very, very good win for the Whites. And I think you've got to say that Fulham, yes, they might be missing Mitrovic, but they are still getting results, and that is the main thing when you are in the Premier League. It is about getting these results. London derby, always tricky one to call this one. I'm going to sit on the fence. with this one. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw between Crystal Palace and Fulham. I think it'll be a very, very close one, but I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. We have Luton Town against Wolves. Luton still pointless, and the only team in the Premier League now that is pointless in the Premier League. Wolves lost 3-1 to Liverpool, but that doesn't tell the whole story of the things, it has to be said. Luton, they were in the game against Fulham. And Carlton Morris did have a couple of opportunities. He was very, very unlucky with one of them. But again, Burnley on very, very good form. On very, very good form, it has to be said as well. But they are back in front of their fans at Kenilworth Road. This is the sort of games where Luton have to be looking to win. The teams in and amongst them. And you might not call this sort of a 6-pointer already, but it's sort of sounding out to be one. Isn't it? To say the very, very least. Wolves, well, how can you say this? They lost 3-1 against Liverpool. They lost 3-1. First half, absolutely fantastic. Could have easily been a couple of goals up. Obviously, Petro Neto caused Liverpool all sorts of problems. So obviously, Hee-Chan Wang did get the goal to make it 1-0. And yeah, Mateus Cunha will be having nightmares in his sleep with that missed opportunity to get that header in. He was, it was very, very, it was a really, really hard chance to take for Cunha, but he has to do better. He has to do better. It has to be said. So how do I see this from going? Well, I think Wolves have got more attacking prowess about them. Look, I think Luton are a very, very good side. Look, Kenilworth Road's never an easy place to go to say the very, very least. But Wolves already on the travels. Yes, I know they did lose to Manchester United 1-0. They beat Everton 1-0 as well. So you can kind of see where I'm sort of going here. So I'm going to go for Wolves, and they lost 3-2 against Crystal Palace as well. But I'm actually going to go for Wolves to get the win. I'm going to go for them to get a 1-0 win. And I would not be surprised if Pedro Neto or Hee-Chan Wang get the goal, because I think Wolves showed against Liverpool that they can be very, very good. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Wolves in that one. And then we have Manchester City against Nottingham Forest. Man City 3-1 win over West Ham. Had to come from behind, of course, to James Ward-Prowse's early goal. But yeah, Jeremy Doku is an interesting one. I know he didn't have the best sort of first halves, but the second half he was all over the place, was Jeremy Doku. And I think that's a very, very astute signing from Manchester City. Again, obviously Bernardo Silva did get the other goal as well. And obviously Erling Haaland, who else scored the third goal to make it a very, very comfortable 3-1 win. So again, Manchester City, 15 points, 5 wins from 5. It's a very, very good start to the season. Nottingham Forest, 1-1 with Burnley. I mean, they can kind of count themselves a bit fortunate. I think that they got a draw in that game. Look, I think at the City ground, Forest they're going to have most of the ball. They're going to have most of the possession. Callum Hudson-Odoi, great to see him scoring. Really, really good to see him scoring. Was the Callum Hudson-Odoi. So I think Forest will give City a bit of problems. I know this game finished obviously 6-0 last season, but this Forest side are much, much better defensively, I think, this season. They've obviously, gone away and said, like, our away form was not great last season. It wasn't great last season. And I think you've got to say this now. The Forest are a much, much improving side. And you have to say, their away games, I mean, they beat Chelsea 1-0, which is very, very good. They lost narrowly to Arsenal. And I just have a feeling that this is going to be a very, very closer than many people think game, I have to say. I'm actually going to go for 2-1 Manchester City. I think this is going to be a very, very close one. Could be wrong, of course. Could be wrong. But I actually think Forest can go to that Etihad and give them a game. I think they can give them a very, very good game. So I'm going to go for Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 1 in that one. So now we have the evening game. There's 2 evening games this weekend. There is Brentford against Everton. Brentford did lose their first game of the season 1-0 against Newcastle. Was it a penalty? We will get onto that. We will certainly get onto that. Everton lost again at home 1-0 against Arsenal. Just a pity. Just a catalogue of their season already. I mean, 1-0 against Fulham, 1-0 Wolves, and now 1-0 Arsenal at Goodison Park. It's not looking good for the Everton faithful, but let's get on to the penalty. Look, I think Anthony Gordon is very, very fortunate that this is going to be given a penalty. I don't think it is a penalty. I think what has happened there is that Flecken has literally came out. He's literally came out, and Anthony Gordon has basically anticipated the contact before going down. For me, I don't think that's a penalty. I think that is more and more a dive, the way you look at it. Like, I know there's been similar ones with obviously Dominic Szoboszlai against Bournemouth. That one was very, very dodgy, I've got to say. However, I do think Newcastle should have had another penalty earlier in the game. So I think you probably look at that game and say that, look, Brentford probably didn't deserve to lose on that decision. But I do think Newcastle were slightly the better side, slightly the better side. But look, Brentford are a fantastic side, and I do think when you look at it, I think they'll be happy that they're back in front of their home fans. Everton's away form is absolutely dreadful. So for me, I think Everton were all right against Arsenal. They weren't great. They didn't really test David Raya. I mean, David Raya made his Arsenal debut, of course. They didn't really test them. They didn't really test them, if I've got to be honest with you. So how do I see this going? This is a difficult one to call. If it was a Goodison, then maybe you might have sort of Everton potentially winning, but Everton's away form, as I've said, I've got to give Brentford the win. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Brentford. I think it'll be just a comfortable victory for the Bees in that one. And now we have an 8 o'clock kick-off, and Burnley finally got their first points of the season with a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest. They will be without Lyle Foster. Stupid red cards. I mean, we all have moments of badness in us. We all do have moments of madness in us, but what was Lyle Foster thinking? He's literally punched the Nottingham Forest player, and VAR, all those cameras, you're going to get caught. You are going to get caught, and obviously Rob Jones comes over, gives him the red card. It was stupid. It really, really was stupid for Burnley, because I think you have to say Burnley deserved to win against Nottingham Forest. That second goal should never have been ruled out. It's not a deliberate handball from Sander Berg. It's not a deliberate handball. Not a deliberate handball. But look, back in front of the home fans again at Turf Moor. It's not been an easy start for them at home recently. But this would be a game you'd actually think, well, look at the opponent. Yes, they're not in the best of form. This could be a game that we could think about potentially getting something, because Manchester United, I've got to be honest, Manchester United are a complete shambles right now. An absolute shambles from top to bottom. Manager's getting his tactics wrong. He brought off Hoyland when he brought on Martial. And defensively, they're an absolute joke. I mean, how many times at the weekend did you see Pascal Gross? Did you see Tariq Lamptey basically cutting Manchester United open to shreds? Really, really, really poor. And Man United have got to go Bayern. That could get ugly. That could get really, really ugly, to say the very, very least. Manchester United's away form, as I've said, is not great either. So two struggling sides. You can't really separate them, if I'm being honest. I know. Obviously, Man United got more points than Burnley do, but I think on this occasion, you just don't know what Manchester United's going to turn up. You don't know what Burnley's going to turn up. So I'm going to sit on the fence again. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think Burnley will get something off Manchester United. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in that one. And so that takes care of the Saturday games. The first game on Sunday. Wow. 2 p.m. It is the North London derby. Informed Arsenal, you have to say, against informed Tottenham. Very, very interesting game, to say the very, very least. Arsenal did get the win against Everton. Look, I don't think there were in any doubt, shape or form, really tested by Everton. Obviously, Trossard did get the goal in the end. Very, very good play from Saka down the right-hand side. Plays it to Trossard. Lovely finish into the bottom corner. So, Martinelli had the goal. I mean, that offside rule for VAR is ridiculous, to say the very least. I think Arsenal should have got a goal. I think they should have got that second goal. So that would have been a more comfortable victory at Everton. But you got to say, Tottenham came from behind. Richarlison, good to see him on the score sheet, I've got to say, especially with the week he's had. And then obviously Kulusevski scoring as well, which is very, very good to see as well. But yeah, Tottenham, I mean, Ange Postecoglou, James Maddison did get Manager of the Month and Player of the Month respectively, didn't they? And they really, really deserved it. Tottenham haven't beaten Arsenal at the Emirates since 2010. So, how do I see it going? I can't separate them again. Look, it's it's a difficult one. It really, really is a difficult one. Like, I'm going to be changing my mind over this one time and time again. Look, I think, if I'm being honest, I can see a draw. I can see Arsenal nicking it because I think Arsenal at this moment in time, along with another team who I think they're definitely going to be challenging Manchester City. But this is Ange Postecoglou's first derby as a manager. He's obviously had them in obviously Scotland, obviously the old firm, isn't he, as well. No, I'm gonna sit on the fence again. I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna go 1-1. I was very, very tempted to go for a Tottenham win. I was very, very tempted, but I just think Arsenal, Tottenham will be a very, very good game to watch. But I am gonna go for a 1-1 draw. Just got a feeling that it will be a draw. So I'm gonna go 1-1 for Arsenal against Tottenham as well. And now we have Brighton against Bournemouth, the South Coast derby. I think you can call it that as well. Brighton, hats off to you guys. What a fantastic performance at Old Trafford. 3-1 win, and could have been a lot more. Could have been a lot more. Like, Roberto De Zerbi's been at Brighton for a year. He deserves a lot of credit with the way he's been doing. He deserves a lot of credit with the way he's brought his ideas across into his Brighton side. And 3-1 away at Manchester United is absolutely fantastic. That is the fourth win in a row Brighton have got against Manchester United. It's absolutely amazing. It really, really is. Bournemouth 0-0 against Chelsea, but again, that's another game they'll be going away and thinking we should have got something out of the gate. Well, obviously they get a draw, obviously a 0-0 draw, but that would have been a game that Bournemouth would have looked at and thought, yeah, we might actually maybe sneak a 1-0 win. Got to give credit to Robert Sanchez and the Chelsea goal. I think he did really, really well. Made some very, very good saves, didn't he? So, got to be honest, I do think that Brighton are going to win this one. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Brighton. I know they've got Europa League action midweek, but I'm just going to say it now. I think Brighton will win 2-0 against Bournemouth. And now we have Chelsea against Aston Villa. Chelsea. What have they spent that billion on? Because I look at Chelsea's bench against Bournemouth, and the only names I saw on that bench that could make a difference: Ben Chilwell and Cole Palmer. The rest are kids. I know Chelsea have got injuries. I know that Chelsea have got injuries. But I look at that Chelsea bench that played against Bournemouth on Sunday, and if I'm looking at both benches, I would rather Bournemouth's bench. Bournemouth had obviously like Justin Kluivert to come on, and they had Tyler Adams to come on as well. But Bournemouth's bench compared to Chelsea's looked a lot stronger. Now, obviously, we know that Chelsea do have a lot of injuries, but that's no excuse. And look, I keep saying it. Jackson's not a striker. How many times did you see him against Bournemouth where he got the ball, literally didn't know what to do with it, so indecisive, and then, like Sterling's free kick hit the crossbar. That was the closest Chelsea got to scoring the whole game. The whole game. When it got to the final third, completely toothless. Completely and utterly toothless. Look, I like Pochettino. I think he's a very, very good manager, but he's got a heck of a job there at Chelsea. He has a heck of a job at Chelsea to just get them getting results. 6 wins in 2023. That is not good enough. That is relegation form. If you're a Chelsea supporter, you'll be very, 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 very worried, to say the very, very least. Aston Villa 3-1 win against Crystal Palace. Very, very good performance, I've got to say. If anyone's not seen John Duran's goal, oh, I mean, he hit that. Gone into the top corner. I don't think if you had Allison, if you had Ederson in there, I don't think any goalkeeper's saving that. It was an absolute beauty into the top corner. As well, obviously, Giabi did get his goal in the end, which is very, very good to see as well. Bailey, I think, got the other one as well. No, Douglas Luiz, sorry. Douglas Luiz got from the penalty, and then Leon Bailey, of course, as well. But Aston Villa, yes, away from they're not great, but they're going to a Chelsea side who look really, really toothless up front. They really, really do. And I can only see an Aston Villa win. Honestly, I think Aston Villa will go to Chelsea. I think Aston Villa won this 2-0 last season against Chelsea. And that was obviously when Graham Potter was in charge. But the more I look at Chelsea, the sooner they get players back, the better. Because that squad at this moment in time is crying out for a striker of any ilk. Once Nkunku comes back, I'm pretty sure Chelsea will come good again. But at this moment in time, I think Chelsea are on another downward spiral this season, and I'm going to go. I actually think they might score Chelsea, but they're not keeping Villa out. They're not keeping Villa out. I'm going to go 3-1 Aston Villa. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Aston Villa. I think that they will just be way, way too strong for Chelsea in that one. So we'll go for Chelsea 1, Aston Villa 3. So 2 more games to go. Liverpool against West Ham United. Liverpool 3-1 win over Wolves. West Ham 3-1 defeat to Manchester City. But doesn't tell the whole story, does it? Look, be honest, very, very relieved to win 3-1 against Wolves. I was very, very happy to say the very least. Mohamed Salah getting, well, he almost got a hat-trick of assists, but the final goal did go out to Hugo Bueno own goal. Jaro Kwanzaa I thought was very, very good at the back as well. But again, we're slow starters. We are slow starters in the league, especially like away from home. And that's another game we've come from behind as well. Look, I'll be honest, the 13 points that we've got, I don't think we've played well in any of those games. So we've got another gear to go. We've definitely got another game. Maybe the Aston Villa game is probably the only game you probably look at them lot and think, yeah, we played very, very well there. West Ham 3-1 defeat against Manchester City, but they will give teams a very, very good go of it. They will give teams a very, very good go of it. Mikel Antonio is actually thinking that West Ham will finish above Liverpool, which is very, very bold and very, very silly, to say the very, very least. Look, it's going to be a very interesting game at Anfield. It really, really is. West Ham have given Liverpool tough games in there in the past. It was only 1-0 last season. I think Darwin Núñez scored the winner there as well. But I'm going to give Liverpool the win. I'm going to give Liverpool 2-1 win. I think it'll be a. No, I'll go 3-1. I'll go the same result as the Wolves game. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool. I think it will be a very, very tight game, but I do think Liverpool's class will show in the end. And that means that there is one more game, Sheffield United against Newcastle United. Look, Paul Heckenbaum's come out and said that he wasn't happy with the referees. I'm fully with him because I think McBurney's missing for this game, which is really, really disappointing for his sake. So going to have to rely on obviously Cameron Archer as well. But look, Sheffield United, at least they're off the board. At least they're off the board, obviously, a point against Everton. They were unlucky against Tottenham. Gustavo Himar is a very good player. He really is. He's going to be the sort of the creativity for them. It has to be said. Newcastle United, well, they are back in the Champions League this week. They are playing AC Milan. At the time of recording, they are playing this evening as well. And I've got to say, I do think that will be a very interesting game. That AC Milan game. They did beat Brentford for 1-0. Callum Wilson scoring the only goal of the game. Good to see him on the score sheet as well. Bramley will be bouncing for this game. It will be definitely bouncing, but unfortunately, I think you've got to say that I think Newcastle United will come away with a win. I've got a feeling that they will come away with a win. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Newcastle United in that one. So there we go, guys. There we go. There are my match week 6 predictions in the week for match week 6. I will go through my predictions very, very quickly as well. Let's have a look at these as well. So we have Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 1, Luton Town 0, Wolves 1, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 1, Brentford 2, Everton 0, Burnley 1, Man United 1. Oops, it is it. Just realised that's a mistake. That should say 1-1 with Arsenal Tottenham. So give me a wee moment. There we go. There we go. That should say it. There we go. So we'll start again. Crystal Palace 1, Fulham 1, Luton Town 0, Wolves 1, Manchester City 2, Nottingham Forest 1, Brentford 2, Everton 0, Burnley 1, Manchester United 1, Arsenal 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1, Brighton 2, Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 1, Aston Villa 3, Liverpool 3, West Ham United 1, and Sheffield United 0, Newcastle United 2. So there we go, folks. There are my predictions for match week 6. Do remember to get yours in the comment section down below, and like Nathan Morgan and Luca AFC, you will get a shout out in the next video. Now, of course, there are no games on Monday, so the next video will be out on Monday as well. That will be for match week number 7, and I believe that's the Carling Cup weekend, Carabao Cup midweek as well. So yeah, we'll definitely see about that. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Really do appreciate everyone who keeps tuning in and keeps predicting in these videos. And I will see you in the next video. Enjoy the football. Enjoy your weekend's football. Should be fantastic games as well. Arsenal Tottenham on Sunday. That will be an absolute cracker. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.
Give me all you've got if you're prepared to break the silence. I'll be out in the sunshine, running beside the lions.